So a lot of people think that spirituality is about being peaceful and holy and out of the world, somehow not involved. And for a lot of religion, that's true. They play a life of be out of it. They enter monasteries or ashrams and they become reclusive. But for me, my teachers said, if you find something, if you find the light, if you find that flame as yourself, you take it out into the marketplace, you share it, you don't hide it away, you don't become separate, you get into everything, you celebrate life, and you share what you know with everyone. And so I felt a little bit like a quick change artist tonight, because I've just come from a meeting of the Military Brotherhood, which is a motorcycle club that takes care of servicemen who have fallen on harder times. And that's a part of being in the world, not just sitting in meditation somewhere at home or here. There's a big misunderstanding about what meditation is. It's not necessarily sitting silently watching your breath. It is true that that is meditation, if you're watching your breath. But if you're present to reality, you are in meditation. The only time that you're not in meditation is when you're thinking, because your awareness is going to your thoughts, which aren't real, they're just not real. If you're aware of what's real, if you're present here, you are in meditation. And one of my teachers said that we need to be in meditation every moment. And I agree, always here. Because if you live here, you suffer. Because you are programmed to solve problems. You are programmed to suffer. The schooling that we went to did that, guaranteed it. Meditation, or the practice of meditation, is actually reclaiming reality from a dream that you've been programmed to live in. So being out in the world, doing things with other people, helping them in particular, you can be present, you can be here, you can be in a spiritual practice of meditation by simply being present to what you're doing, present to the person in front of you, present to what they're saying, rather than present to what you're thinking. Because present to what you're thinking is actually present to dreaming. It's not real. It's not grounded in anything that's real. The stepping stones through higher consciousness to enlightenment demand that you get present to what is real, because beingness itself is reality. The way through that is usually being present to the body somehow, because the body's real too, to some degree. It's actually here. What you're thinking is imagined. There's nothing real about what you think. And so I advocate meditation, but not just the sitting type where you sit and watch your breath. That's good, but how about the walking type, where you're walking and you're watching your footfalls, you're watching your breath, you're being aware of what's around you, the sounds, the sights. And if you're aware of those things, you can't be thinking. You can't be entertaining dream. Try it and see. I used to call it walking in Zen. I'd walk along the beach for hours, being aware of my footfalls, my breath, the sound of the surf, that wherever the sun was hitting me, the air that was coming onto myself, the whole thing, everything, all of it. And you can't think while you're doing that. It's not possible. If you're aware of all of those things, you can't be thinking at the same time. Not possible. You can only be here. And really, higher consciousness is about being here, not here. It's not about knowledge. It's not about collecting knowledge from spiritual teachers or books. It's about being present to reality, being in the world fully. engaged. As a meditator, you become a witness. You start witnessing things. You start witnessing your own mind when it does talk. And as a result of that, you become conscious of how it works. And because you're conscious of how it works, you don't get caught in reacting. You respond because you're conscious. If you're not conscious, you just react automatically and unconsciously. But once you become conscious of your thoughts, you can respond. So things like anger disappear because there's now a choice to respond instead of react. Reacting would be anger. A non-reaction would be to not get angry, to respond. It's very different. And so your life changes. And it changes because you've developed this silent witness that simply watches everything. Your mind, your body, the world, everything. Like you're watching something else. It's not personal. It's impersonal. And your consciousness levels go up and up and up. As long as you're dreaming, as long as you're thinking, your consciousness levels basically stay at a survival level of existence. Because you're dreaming. You're not in reality. So I used to call it switched on. And people who were dreaming a lot, I called that switched off, zombified. Switched on means you're aware of what's happening to you, what's happening around you all the time. Switched on. And if you meet anyone who has higher consciousness, true higher consciousness, they are switched on. I have not met anyone yet who's awake who's not switched on. They're not dreaming, they're not zombified, they're here. And usually they're pretty deadly. And so I encourage people to switch on and move out of the dream world that they've found themselves lost in, which is where suffering happens. It just takes discipline to do it because it doesn't happen by itself. If you've spent a lifetime of dreaming since you went to school, it's going to be hard to change that pattern. You actually have to bring a new pattern into play of not dreaming, of being present to what's real. And if you're not prepared to do that, well, not much is going to change. You might collect a whole pile of knowledge and think you've got wise, but your consciousness levels haven't really risen because you're still dreaming.